After the last video, I realized I need to get more ideas, as Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't seem to get much traffic here. And after a few days, I picked up on a Dark Souls 3 challenge from the legendary shitpost and meme god himself, ymfah. Yes people, that is how you say his name. The run at first seemed outlandish, and so I got to the drawing board thinking, does it actually work? And after enough research, aka just watching the video, it definitely does. And so I decided to follow this guide to see how easy or how hard it would be. Which leads to today. Just as a quick disclaimer, I won't be displaying the video at all just to be safe of copyright. And I noticed how he didn't go through every boss. So for the sake of making this a true challenge, I will do what he didn't and kill Nameless King. After choosing the Unga Bunga class, I realized that there was a huge difference between 30 and 60 FPS, which got me killed by Gundyr 4 times. And after eventually prevailing, I did the chi jump for extra loot, and with the souls from Gundyr, I popped myself chainmail armor to level up from the Unga Bunga to medieval standard. With that out of the way, I made my way to the high wall. After entering the high wall, I simply went around getting all of the essentials as well as the broadsword, my main weapon for the run. After that, I killed Emma and Vort with nothing noteworthy to write home about, before reaching the undead settlement. In the settlement, I got the small leather shield, Loretta's bone for Greyrat's quest, and other essentials. After that, I went to the Road of Sacrifices and got the Bell Tome for TOD. From there, I progressed and got the Grass Crest Shield and cheesed the Watchdogs for extra souls before entering Baron Keep. I went back to the Road of Sacrifices to kill the Crystal Sage, which was a living nightmare. The Sage is hell in SR1. If you aren't ended up, you literally get one shot all the time. I remember getting killed by the Sage multiple times over and over. Half the time he killed me before I could even get a single hit in. Yes, he killed me several times straight off the buffing. Don't get me started on the second phase. That can get euphoria treatment. No, not that one. Yes, that's the one. But it made it all the more satisfying to kill him. Afterwards, I picked up the Herald armor set, Paladin's Ashes, to get the Lord Shield Ring and made my way to the cathedral. After getting the SR1 cathedral greeting with teleporting dogs and exploding heretics, I claimed the Lloyd Sword Ring. And with all of that said, we are off to DLC 1. In the DLC, I got the upgrade materials and made my way to Burham to do the all cushion shove. I then went back to Andre for a +7. With all preparation done, it was time for the Dancer. Dancer is one of the harder bosses in SR1. She hits like a truck, and if you make a single mistake, you are likely to die. A few tips I can give you is to stay behind her leg, give a 2 to 3 hit combo. After that, wait for her to attack, and roll. As for when she pulls out spin to win, stay behind her and be sure to run behind her. Count the number of times she spins, as on the 6th one, if you are behind her, she will do 2 spinning slashes at the end. Rinse and repeat until desired results. I bullied the Abyss Watchers and into the Bone Zone. There is the Carthus Smoke Ring for the caution if you really want to use it. Nothing special happened with Volnir. It was finally time for Irithyll, and it was here where I fought Pontiff's Pet and got the right eye ring, a very good ring for spamming R1. I went back to the cathedral to demolish the beacons and entered the valley. I then went on to kill Ocelot to access the untended graves where Gundyr is. After parrying him to oblivion, he gave up and gave me his soul, giving me access to the true Firelink Shrine. And after ransacking the shrine, I went to kill the Greatwood Balsac for the transposing kiln and gave it to Ludlet for the better version of the Thap Ring, in exchange for Gundyr's soul. This was it, the beginning of the end. I got an undead bone shard from Irithyll, and it was here where I was supposed to have killed Creighton for his axe, but for some reason, he didn't spawn. So I went to the dungeon to get the Dusk Crown Ring for TOD. and it was then when I realized that the quest line was glitched, meaning that I couldn't advance it further no matter what I wanted to do. With the catering, I can ignore the sewer key and send Irina to the shrine to get TOD and the Saint ring. With the Dusk, Saint and Faith ring, we unlock TOD. We are now ready for Yorm. After a boss fight, I bought as much raw pine resin in preparation to fight Pontiff, and by fight I mean to parry him to oblivion. After a few attempts and realizing that visual effects get overwritten, I made my way to fight Aldrich. He is quite an unruly boss to fight, especially on SR1, since he likes to teleport and his spells shred HP. But after about 30 minutes of attempts, I won. After the fight, I was teleported back by a non-existent Emma and got the Night Ring before fighting the Slayer armor. The armor this time was so hard that I even went and bought pale pine resin. Yes, that's right, magic box and everything, but this is SO1 by every means necessary. Time to face Amazing Pete and Pink Master Oriental. For phase 1 I backstab, charge, R1 spam. Phase 2, swap to Punch of Right Eye to spam R1 on Oriental. Phase 2, I swap to the Punch of Right Eye to spam R1 on Oriental and crit hit before going back to Hornet Drink for strat 1 for phase 3. Sister Feeder and Oriental are supposed to go down. That's the plan. I died to Feeder so many times that even after getting to phase 2, I had to summon Gale for this, mainly because I wanted to get recording done before exam started, but still. And phase 3 was where I had the least practice. I had to be careful of which scythe she uses. If she uses ice, go behind her, fire, run away, and stick to her sides. This is the first time I actually summoned in Dark Souls 3. You can put me up against Dancer and I'll manage. Soul of Cinder, sure. Not so confident about Nameless King though. I'll be honest, but again, I will never get off the train of From Software DLCs being harder than the main game. Now just look at Shadow of the Erdtree, but still, Feeder hit like a truck, so TOD was essential here. And after 10 recordings and 5 hours of gameplay, 1 week in real time, I finally conquered Feeder. Into Dreg Heap, I got some Divine Blessings, the Ring of Steel Protection +3, Lothic War Banner, which I didn't use, and the Fab Ring +3. Oh, how I've missed you. The strat for the War Banner is to equip the Hunter Ring and use the Weapon Art, and swap back to whatever ring you were using before. With all of that done, it was time for some DP. You see, if you choose the demon that is melee, it will only lead to more issues if you kill the wrong one. So I simply went with killing the demon in pain first and killed the laser version of the prince. And the Lothic War Banner was basically useless, as it only gives a bonus to attack for a short duration. After getting kidnapped by a group of imps and getting to the Ringed City, my time has come. I got the Fluanti Ring +3 and cheesed Half-Life with the Night Ring and a 2-handed +5 Cocaine Greatsword, by starting with the backstab and stunlocking him to oblivion. Just be careful with the Wombo combo, just wait for the one-handed moveset and stunlock him with the charged R2. That is ymfah's guy, but it had issues. It was very dependent on how fast you were able to kill the Guardians and Half-Life. And if you don't kill the Guardian fast enough, he will heal Half-Life, and if you don't kill Half-Life fast enough, he will just spam you with even more issues, and the Guardian will respawn. While it was a bit helpful, I struggled way too much with what was supposed to be a cheese. Yes, this is true. He even made a video calling it a cheese. Saving the best for last, I went to fight the Twin Princes. Pro tip: dodge to back, hit, repeat, and discharge. Wait until last second to dodge. Phase 2, focus on dodging the faith beams and repeat until desired results. That was until I realized that the princes are very dependent on your RNG half of the time. In the first phase, Lorian will teleport to you and you have almost no time to react to his first slash, and he can easily kill you within 1 or 2 hits. For the second phase, it gets worse. Lothric will be the one you need to target, but he is by far the biggest bottleneck in this fight. Up until this point, I was able to keep my composure when I died, because I actually felt like I was revising something. But here, I just didn't feel like that was the case. Whether it was teleporting, the projectiles, which are also hard to dodge when you are trying to manage your stamina and dodge Lorian slashes. It took me 3 days to beat them, but when I finally did, I was only relieved that it was finally over and done with. Time to fight mid-year, don't forget GOD. This fight had so many hiccups, I had issues with preserving embers and so on. It took me 5 hours worth of attempts to finally beat him. Unfortunately, my fight with Gale ended up getting lost. Okay, so here is the only part of the run where I have to rely on my own deductions. Surprisingly, after about 2 hours of attempts, I beat the king. Now it was time for me to face the Soul of Cinder. Here I completely forgot about the guide and just went in with my own wits. Oh, and I beat him on the first try. I want to make a challenge series on this series for his guides, so let me know if you enjoyed this video or not, so then I can get a somewhat vague idea.